And now staying in Washington, President Donald Trump has vowed to change how elections are conducted in the United States. The president pledged to issue an executive order to end the use of mail-in ballots as well as voting machines ahead of next year's midterm elections, a move that could likely favor his political party. Now, speaking to reporters at the White House after posting about it on his social media platform, the president said he was looking to end mail-in ballots due to their alleged corrupt nature.
And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them.
Now, Trump has long opposed mail-in ballots and said his order would bring honesty to the midterms. And sitting alongside Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, he insisted there could never be an honest election if mail-in ballots remained in use.
We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up. He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in. And it's time that the Republicans get tough and stop it because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected.
Now, the president's comments came after he claimed in an interview that Russian President Vladimir Putin, during their meeting in Alaska on Friday, echoed his grievances about mail-in voting and the 2020 presidential election.
You know, Vladimir Putin said something, one of the most interesting things. He said, your election was rigged because you have mail-in voting. He said, no country has mail-in voting. It's impossible to have mail-in voting and have honest elections.
Now, to be clear, mail-in and absentee ballots can be counted after Election Day in 18 states, provided they're postmarked on or before that date. And just over 30% of ballots cast in last year's election were reportedly submitted by mail. And according to the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, 34 countries allow mail-in voting. Of them, 12 countries, including Germany, Britain, Denmark, New Zealand, and Canada, offer mail-in voting to all voters. 22 countries, including India, Australia, Spain, France, Greece, limit it to some voters only. In fact, research shows there's no evidence that mail-in balloting is less secure than other methods. Pro-democracy groups have reportedly warned that eliminating it could disenfranchise millions of Americans. Yet the president continues to brand it fraudulent despite it being the same system that helped him win last year's election and secure Republican control of Congress. He's also pushed for years to end electronic voting machines, calling instead for paper ballots and hand counts, a system officials say is both time-consuming and costly. Now, additionally, this push comes as he urges states to redraw congressional districts to help Republicans maintain their majority in the House of Representatives. But ironically, despite his criticism, the president has cast mail-in ballots twice in Florida in the 2020 primary elections and used absentee ballots in New York in both 2018 and 2017. He even urged his supporters to vote by mail during last year's campaign. Take a look.
We've set an all-time record in the early voting, by the way, so if you have a mail-in ballot, get that damn ballot in, please, immediately, because they've already started cheating in Lancaster. They've cheated.
Now, Democrats led by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer say the president's move amount to a return to Jim Crow era, a period when many states enforced racial segregation and disenfranchised African-American voters.
And vote by mail is safe, secure, and reliable. This is yet another one of Trump's attempts to silence Americans. Senate Democrats will make sure that any and every measure that would make it even more difficult for Americans to vote will be dead on arrival in the Senate.
So as the midterms draw closer, Donald Trump's call to end mail-in ballots and voting machines guarantees that the rules of America's democracy will be just as much a battlefield as the ballots themselves.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion kakarjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
4 兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.